Okay, good morning to all the students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Yeah. Let's start this concluding lecture under module 5. In the previous session, we have seen how to run a job on a cluster by packaging it and then launching the job on the cluster at a larger scale, and the MapReduce web UI, how to keep track of the tasks of the job tracker and the task trackers. And in a job tracker page, we can see how various jobs are being progressed. Means we can monitor the progress of MapReduce tasks under a particular job, and even how retrieving the results, because the reduced task will give the output in multiple files, and later all these can be read into a single file, merged into a single file. We need to understand how to retrieve the results of a reduced job. And then finally, how to debug a job. Debugging a job on a single machine is easier. Why? Because we have to just test it with a print command. But doing it on multiple machines on a cluster is little difficult. So how to do that, we have seen under this concept, debugging a job. In today's lecture, we'll see these two concepts of Hadoop logs and remote debugging, how to perform remote debugging so that you can interact with your machines running on a distant area also. Now, Hadoop logs are created for various set of audience. This table depicts how various types of logs are created and who are the targeted audience and what description it provides. Under this, the first log that is created is system daemons logs. The targeted audience or the intended audience for which this system daemon logs are created are the administrators. So in this, each Hadoop daemon produces a log file and another file that combines standard out and error. So this will help us to understand what type of errors have arisen when some job is being executed. And written in the directory, it is written into the directory defined by the Hadoop log dir environment variable. You know how to set the environment variables, right? So this system daemons logs, the errors will be written to this particular directory defined by this Hadoop Hadoop underscore log underscore directory. And another Hadoop logs that is created is HDFS audit logs. And the targeted audience for them are again the administrator itself. So this HDFS audit logs is a log of all HDFS requests turned off by default. Normally, many clients make HDFS requests simultaneously, right? So the log of all these HDFS requests will be provided in the HDFS audit logs, and by default, it will be turned off. Okay, if you want explicitly, if you want the audit log details, then you have to remember to turn it on and return to the, this details are written to the name nodes log, although this is configurable. Okay, so if you want to configure various properties for this, you can do that, and they are written to the name nodes log, not to the data nodes. And another type of log is MapReduce job history logs. And the intended audience for this is the users. The users of who wanted to actually execute a MapReduce job. Okay, they would be interested in this MapReduce job history logs. Now, a log of the events such as task completion, when the task has started, when it has completed, all this log of the events that occur in the course of running a job, that occur in the execution during the execution of a job, that will be written to this particular logs. Now these are saved centrally on the job tracker and in the jobs output directory in a logs /history subdirectory. So this subdirectory will be in the jobs output directory. Okay, the subdirectory is named as logs history. And another type of logs is MapReduce task logs, and even for this also users would be interested in to check this information. Now each task tracker child process produces a log file using log4j, which is also called as syslog, a file for data sent to the standard output, and also a file for standard error. Now this is written in the user logs subdirectory of the directory defined by the Hadoop log directory, same as here what we have mentioned for system daemon logs. Okay, these are under the main directory of Hadoop, where this user logs will be written as a subdirectory. Now, MapReduce task logs are accessible through the web UI, which is the most convenient way to view them. We have seen how to keep track of a job tracker, how to understand how the progress is going on with the execution of a job by going through the job tracker. And if you want to emphasize more, if you want to get details more about a particular job, you can click on that job ID in the job tracker, where you get more details about the job, right? So in the same place, using the same web UI, you can get these task logs also. MapReduce task logs are accessible through that particular web UI. Now you can also find the log files on the local file system of the task tracker that ran the task attempt, located in a directory named by the task attempt. So these task trackers will be running on individual nodes, right? So there also you can find the log files on a local file system where the task tracker has actually run, but they will be located in a directory named by the task attempt. The task attempt will actually name. I showed you in the previous session, in the task details page, you will have the directory where the actual task attempt is being run, right? So this particular log file will be located in a directory named by the task attempt. Now, if task JVM reuse is enabled, then each log file accumulates the logs for the entire JVM run. So multiple task attempts will be found in each log file. You know that a single node can run multiple tasks, right? A single node can act as multiple task nodes. It can run multiple tasks as a task node. Now, in that case, if task JVM reuse is enabled, each log file accumulates the logs for the entire JVM run. For that entire instance of JVM run, all the log files accumulates the logs. So multiple task attempts will be found in each log file. So you should be careful while identifying a particular task, because multiple task attempts will be listed in that log file. And the web UI hides this by showing only the portion that is relevant for the task attempt being viewed. So when you click on a particular task attempt using the task ID, then you can see that particular details about that task based on that task ID that you have selected. Now it is straightforward to write to these log files. Anything written to standard output or standard error is directed to the relevant log file. Right? So when you are writing something to a standard output or standard error through your task, then that is automatically directed to the relevant log file. So when you click on a task's log file, you will come to see all the standard output or standard error data that has been written. Now, how to perform remote debugging. If you want to debug, you can't do it a priori. Means you can't do it before the task is run. You will notice some errors only after the task is run. So how to perform this remote debugging? When a task fails and there is not enough information logged to diagnose the error, you may want to resort to running a debugger for that particular task. Sometimes even after seeing the log files, you may not be able to understand what is the source cause for that particular error. You may not be able to diagnose what is the cause for that error. Say you, in that case, you may have to resort to running a debugger for that particular task. This is hard to arrange when running the job on a cluster. For us, with a single local machine, running a debugger is very easy. But when you are working on multiple machines on a cluster, then this is hard to arrange when you're working with multiple machines, as you don't know which node is going to process which part of the input. So you can't set up your debugger ahead of the, only once the failure occurred, then you can start debugging and find out the root cause. Because of these multiple machines that your job is running on, and you doesn't know which part of the job, which part of the input is run by which particular node. But still there are few options available to perform this debugging. Let us see what are those. The first option is to reproduce the failure locally. Often the failing task fails consistently on a particular input, right? A task which is failing fails consistently with any type of such input. In that case, you can try to reproduce the problem locally on a particular node by downloading the file that the task is failing on and running the job locally, possibly using a debugger such as Java's Visual VM, Java's Visual Virtual Machine. Okay, so try to download the file on which the task is failing and run the job locally by using this Java's Visual VM and see what is the error that is being caused, so that you can just monitor what is the root cause for that error. And other option is using JVM debugging options. Now, a common cause of failure is a Java out of memory error, right? So when the Java runs out of memory in the task JVM, you may come across some failures. You may come across some errors. Now you can set mapreduce.child.java.options in order to include heap dump on out of memory error and heap dump path. Means if you run out of memory, then dump whatever is the whatever are the causes for that. Means which file has caused to make the memory run out of say space. Okay, in that case you can include -xx heap dump on out of memory error, and you can also include heap dump path to dumps. Means you can just dump everything into a particular file. This setting produces a heap dump that can be examined afterwards with tools such as JHAT or the Eclipse Memory Analyzer. So you can use these tools like JHAT and Eclipse Memory Analyzer in order to find out what is the root cause for this extra usage of memory. So you can find out by analyzing using this Eclipse Memory Analyzer. Now note that the JVM option should be added to the existing memory settings specified by mapreduce.child.java.options. So using this, if we can produce a heap dump that can be examined afterwards, what is the root cause for this memory out of space. And you can also use task profiling. Java profilers give a lot of insight into this Java virtual machine, and Hadoop provides a mechanism to profile a subset of the tasks in a job. So you can create task profiling, which particular task is using how much memory, how much time it is taking, how much memory it is utilizing, how much space it is occupying. So this resource utilization profiling or task profiling can be done in order to debug and see what is the cause for any type of failure or errors or memory running out of space. Now another option is to use isolation runner. Older versions of Hadoop provided a special task runner called this isolation runner that could rerun failed tasks in situ on the cluster. So it can try to rerun the failed task and see whether the same type of error is occurring again and again. Now in some cases, it is useful to keep the intermediate files for a failed task attempt for later inspection. You can keep it for a later inspection, particularly if supplementary dump or profile files are created in the task working directory. Now you can also set this option, keep failed task files to true. To keep a failed task files. Normally the failed task files will be removed from the log, but if you want to retain and inspect them, then you can set this option, keep failed task files to true. Now you can keep the intermediate files for successful tasks also, which may be handy if you want to examine a task that isn't failing. So if you want to see how the tasks are running smoothly, that is also available with this isolation runner. Now in this case, you have to set the property keep task files pattern. In the previous case, in order to inspect the failed task, you have to use keep failed task files to true. But if you want to check how the successful tasks have completed, you can use keep task files pattern to a regular expression that matches the IDs of the task that you want to retain. So if you want to retain some successfully executed tasks and observe how they have executed successfully, so that you can make use of that experience. In that case, you can enable this option, keep task files pattern, by giving a regular expression in order to match the IDs of the task that you want to retain with the log. Now, to examine the intermediate files, log into the node that the task failed on and look for the directory for that task attempt. So if you want to find the intermediate files for which the task has failed, you can log into the node that the task failed on, which node is running a particular task that failed. That you can log on to that node and look for the directory for that particular task attempt which has failed. Now it will be under one of the local MapReduce directories to set the directories as set by the MapReduce local directory property. So that will be found under this mapred.local.directory where you want to check that particular log. And if this property is a comma separated list of directories, in order to spread load across the physical disks on a machine. So one machine will not take the entire load, right? So the load will be spread across the physical disk on a machine. So if this property is a comma separated list of directories, then you may need to look in all the directories before you find the directory for that particular task attempt. So the task attempt directory is normally available in this location, like MapReduce.local. You're finding the directory in the local machine on which the particular job has been run, and using task tracker directory, job cache subdirectory, taking the job ID, and on that job which is the task attempt that has failed, that ID will be available, right? Under that you will get the details of all the tasks which are run on that particular node and which tasks have failed. Now let's quickly paraphrase what we have seen in this particular module before concluding this chapter. We have seen what is MapReduce mechanism and the weather data set and its data format, and analyzing the data NCTC data set with Unix tools, and analyzing data with Hadoop MapReduce also. For this, we have written Java MapReduce programs, the mapper classes, the reducer classes, under which we have written map function and reduce function respectively. And also we have seen how to scale out and how the data flow look like when we are scaling out the job, and how to use the combiner functions as an intermediate level with between map and reduce functions in order to reduce the data that is being transferred between map and reduce phases. And also running a distributed MapReduce job, how to create a job object, how to create the jar file which can be put onto the cluster so that the job trackers can pick up that particular jar file in order to execute a particular job, and how to write C++ MapReduce programs by using Hadoop pipes, and developing a MapReduce application where we have seen how to write the code for finding out the maximum temperature recorded across the globe in a particular year. And also the configuration API, how you can set the configuration file properties using the configuration API, and how you can combine the resources. Say if you want to set multiple properties through different resource files, that you can do by combining the resources, and variable expansion where you can pass the configuration properties through your command line, and setting up the development environment by using automated build tools like Maven, and using the generic options parser where you can pass the properties through command line again, and also writing a unit test with MR unit in order to see whether you are getting the expected output according to the input given or not, and locally running a MapReduce job by using the test data available on the local system, and testing the drivers by using the local job runner, and also running it on a cluster, and launching a job which can be kept track of by using the MapReduce web UI and retrieving the results, where the reduce task gives multiple files, multiple part files, which with further processing, post processing, you can get it into a single file, merge it into a single file in order to get a consolidated result. And debugging a job, that is when some error arises, how to find out what is the cause of the error and how to resolve it. And in today's class, we have seen about Hadoop logs and also how to perform remote debugging. This is how we conclude this last chapter. Any doubts so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay, from Monday we'll have revision classes.
This web server cannot connect.
Before you go for the third internal, we'll have revision classes from Monday. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Shall we end the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See you in the next class. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Okay. Before going to auto